Chapter 10. Focus. Danny pulled out rule number 2 on a piece of paper which said, Rule number 2. Desire, vision, and focus move your bus in the right direction. Joy turned around, looked at George, and said, It's all about focus, George. Without focus buildings don't get built, paintings don't get painted, and energy gets scattered. You told us what you want. You shared your vision. Now I want to help you turn that vision into reality, and it all starts with thoughts. How are my thoughts going to make my work and marriage better? George asked in a skeptical tone. The energy of thought, as we discussed, Joy answered confidently. Each day I want you to focus on your vision for 10 minutes and see yourself creating everything you wrote down on that paper. You see, Georgie, there is a law of energy. It's called the law of attraction. Marty shouted from the back of the bus. That's right. The law of attraction, Joy continued, and it says that the more we focus on something, the more we think about something, the more it shows up in our lives. For instance, I bet every time you buy a new car you start seeing it everywhere on the road. George nodded, knowing it was true. Ever wonder why that is? Joy asked rhetorically. But before George could answer, Joy said, because thoughts are magnetic. What we think about, we attract. What we think about expands and grows. What we put our energy and attention on starts to show up more in our life. And the energy we project through our thoughts is the energy we receive. That's why so many people have had the experience of thinking of a friend or relative and then they call on the phone, Marty confirmed. The phenomenon actually has a scientific name. It's called telephone telepathy, he proudly shared, showing the research on his computer. Joy continued. There is an energy to thought. So it's important that you spend your time thinking about what you do want rather than what you don't want. You've got to focus. Do you know those people, George, who all they do is complain? They focus on what they don't want, don't like, and don't have. Of course I do, George answered, thinking to himself that he was one of them. Well, I tell those people that when you complain you get more things to complain about. So no more complaining and negativity, okay George? I don't allow complaining on my bus because if you are complaining you can't be thinking about or creating what you do want. Plus your complaining also ruins everyone else's ride. I have a saying that I used to say on my school bus to the kids, and now I might even say it to my adult passengers as well because they often need to hear it more than the kids. It goes like this: we're winners, not whiners. With that the bus erupted in laughter and everyone started chanting, we're winners, not whiners. So I want you to stop thinking about what you don't want and start focusing your energy on your vision and what you do want. Make sense, George? Joy asked. The more you see it, the more likely it will happen, Marty said from the back of the bus as he walked toward George to show him the research on visualization and Olympic athletes. All the Olympic athletes use it because there's so much research that shows it works, Marty said. Behind every gold medal are hours of visualizing their best performance or race. So why shouldn't dudes like you and I use it to create a phenomenal life and success? Marty knew this better than anyone else. He was one of those guys who never had any luck on. Joy showed him to create his own luck by projecting lucky energy. He was a surfer who dabbled in the internet business, and he had just started a new company after selling his previous venture for several $1 million. Now he only expects good fortune, and that's what he gets. We live in an energy field of dreams. Joy cheered. If you build it in your mind, focus on seeing it, and take action, the success will come. They were definitely making George think. His life was falling apart, and maybe it was because of his negativity, as his wife had told him so many times. He thought of himself at work and home and saw himself complaining a lot. But would changing these thoughts right now really make such a difference, he wondered. Would focusing on his vision really help attract it? He was an athlete and he had heard about athletes using visualization before, but that's sports and this is life. A lot of negativity and problems had been accumulating for a long time, and it had taken him a while to reach this crisis. Field of dreams, right? He thought skeptically. Instead, I'm building a big pile of you know what. Could he really turn it around that easily? But on the other hand, he didn't have a good reason not to try it. At this point he would try anything if it would mean saving his job and marriage. With a big product launch next Friday for the NRG 2000, this was a time for dreams because he had nothing else.